What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best NFL player props on Prizepicks today. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 21 picks correct, which is absolutely insane. Now, a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 21 right, which is a 93% win rate. Yes, guys, you heard that right. 93% win rate. So we're in a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 93% win rate and get 21 picks right like me, win more bets or receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $2,580 just yesterday, and another member who won $299 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to ejeter4710 who said "you that dude." So shouts out to him, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick, and when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick I do want to talk about is none other than actually Lamar Jackson, 0.5 pass yards, and this one is for more. Now, this one we aren't really going to touch on too much, but this is a discounted pick from Prizepicks. Pretty much a gimme pick at this point, so definitely try to use this in your parlay if you can. So definitely keep an eye out for this, but let's get into the first legitimate pick that we are going to be talking about, and that is none other than Daniel Jones for actually pass yards for 205.5, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Daniel Jones, we actually do know that he has done a fantastic job, throughout last season. But obviously, guys, this is a new season. Now, he has gone on the over in 1 out of the last 5. But I do also have to mention that this is actually from last season as well. So definitely something to keep an eye out for there. Now, obviously, it is hard to really justify looking at last season's. But just to kind of just show you, October 14th, face-off against Cincinnati, had 205 pass yards. October 21 against Philly had 99 pass yards, 264 pass yards against Pittsburgh, that is, and then Washington had 174 pass yards, and then on top of that, 190 pass yards on November 11 as well. So that was also against Carolina Panthers in that matchup. And now we do know Indianapolis Colts, where Daniel Jones is from, does face off against Miami Dolphins in this game. Now, looking at both these teams, this is going to actually be, Dolphins' first game of the season. This is obviously a new season, so some of the teams definitely haven't played just yet. And this NFL day is going to be a big one with a lot of the teams playing. But looking at this matchup, we have seen Miami Dolphins, do pretty poorly at kind of defending the pass yards, and that's why we are expecting someone like Daniel Jones to be able to go over, especially on this first game. We do like to always say, when it comes to earlier games, especially in regular season and early on in the season, it tends to see that we see a lot more, overs due to the fact that when it comes to bookies, they are still trying to adjust their lines since, none of these teams have definitely played. So there's definitely a lot of value there for the over, as we have known that Daniel Jones can definitely, or continue to throw high passing yards throughout the game. So for that reason, coming into this next one, we do very much like the over for this situation, and we definitely do like the over for someone like Daniel Jones. Now, his average over the last 5 is 186.4, but as I mentioned before, it really is hard to kind of justify due to the fact that when you look at actually his matchups are all from last season as well. So definitely keep an eye out for the over, as this is a new season, new day, and a new game for it. So keep an eye out for the over for Daniel Jones, 205.5 pass yards for more, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Jaylen Waddle. So Jaylen Waddle, great player, and this is from actually the other side of this matchup, Miami Dolphins. And this one is for total receptions for actually 4.5, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Jaylen Waddle, we actually have seen him go on the over in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now, this one's a fantastic one because we actually have seen that he's not only just gone on the over in 1 out of the last 5, but, you know, as we mentioned, most of these games have actually been from last season. But still, just quickly reiterating about those games, we did see actually against on November 29th against Green Bay, actually had 4 receptions there. Then against the Jets, had 9 receptions on December 9th. December 16th, faced off against Houston, had 0 receptions. 0 receptions against Cleveland on December 30th. And then against the Jets again, had 4 receptions on Jan 6th. Now, as we all know, Jaylen Waddle from Miami do come up against Indianapolis Colts in this next one. And it is definitely going to be an exciting game for sure. Now, when it comes to Jaylen Waddle, we are expecting him to have a little bit more of a higher usage rate and a little bit more of opportunities for receptions coming into this next game for sure. Now, looking at someone like Jaylen over the last 5, we have seen him go and have a 3.4 average. However, you do also have to know that this is also from last season. So it is something to take with a grain of salt. Now, as I mentioned before, when it comes to this matchup, both of these teams, it will be their first game of the official NFL season. So it is definitely going to be an exciting one there. But looking at this matchup, we do also know when it comes to actually Jaylen Waddle, we do see that when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the over as well. So that works out in our favor there. So I would definitely keep an eye out for him, as the Colts have been projected to not really be the best at restricting receptions. You know, we are expecting the defense to be a little bit on the weaker side, especially in this first game. And as I've always mentioned, there is a little bit of, you know, kind of under predicting when it comes to these sort of picks, and that's why we do like the value for the over for someone like Jaylen Waddle with his, you know, usage rate out there, as we are expecting a little bit higher usage rate from him. So for that reason, we definitely do very, very much like the over. So definitely keep an eye out for it. So Jaylen Waddle, 4.5 receptions for more, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp, great player from none other than actually Seattle. And this one is a fantastic one for total receptions for 4. And this one is for less. So similar to the other picks, obviously he's going to the over in 4 out of the last 5. But they are all obviously against teams that were, or against matches that were actually in last season. Now, coming into this matchup, we also looking at the last 5. You see on December 13th, faced off against 49ers, had 0 receptions. Then against the Jets, had 3 receptions on December 23rd. Then against Arizona Cardinals, had 1 reception on December 29th. Against Minnesota, after that, had 1 reception in that matchup on January 14th. And then on top of that, we also do know against Philly, we also saw on Jan 20th had 5 receptions there. So, you know, as I mentioned, we have seen Cooper Kupp go on the under, you know, quite consistently, and his average over the last 5 is actually 2, so significantly below this line. Now, when we look at Seattle and also Cooper Kupp, we do know Seattle have themselves a great matchup against 49ers, and this is going to be, you know, their first game as well coming into this one. And looking at where both of these teams are and where we are expecting them to go coming into this matchup, a big reason why we are expecting the under for this is due to the fact that Cooper Kupp may need some time to get used to when it actually comes to, you know, this matchup there. So Seattle Seahawks, this is definitely going to be an important game for them. Same with the 49ers to really try to get this season going. But for someone like Cooper Kupp, we do know they face off against 49ers, and 49ers last season actually did a fantastic job at restricting receptions. That's what we are expecting in this next matchup for sure. So I definitely would keep an eye out for the under for this one for someone like Cooper. And as we mentioned with some of the other picks, when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also are in favor for the under as well. So that works out in our favor there. So for that reason, Cooper Kupp, 4 receptions for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than actually Darius Slayton. So Darius Slayton, great player, and this one is actually for, actually 26.5 receiving yards, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Darius Slayton, we have seen him go on the over in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on December 9th, faced off and actually had 27 receiving yards, which is fantastic. And that was actually against none other than New Orleans. So it definitely was a big game there. On top of that, they also then faced off on December 16th against Baltimore, had 16 receiving yards, there. And then against Atlanta on 23rd, had 21 receiving yards. Then Indiana had 32 receiving yards on December 30th. And then Jan 6 against Philadelphia had 0 receiving yards there. So we have seen Darius Slayton actually go in the over, as I mentioned, in 2 out of the last 5. And actually, the New York Giants at that, do have themselves a very good matchup against Washington. So, obviously we do know when it comes to, Washington, it is definitely going to be a interesting matchup there. Now looking at both of these teams, Giants, Commanders, we do know both of these teams haven't actually played just yet. This will be their first game, just to be, reassured about that. So this is going to be their first game. And when you actually look at where Washington Commanders are projected to be at defensively, we are expecting them to allow quite a lot of receiving yards. So, as I mentioned, even though it is the first game, we see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially for someone like Darius Slayton coming into this matchup. So definitely keep an eye out for the over there, although his average over the last 5 is only 19.2. You do have to take it with a grain of salt, as I've mentioned, all those games were from last season as well. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye for Darius Slayton. So Darius Slayton, 26.5 receiving yards. 4 more, I think, is a fantastic pick.